Hello everyone, my name is Taiwo and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be creating like an Amazon website, but we won't be implementing the entire website. It's just going to be a web page, and this is what we are going to be implementing. So everything we are going to be building today, we are going to be using React for it. So let's get started. First of all, we are going to do like a very simple list view that shows the image, shows the amount, shows the title for the product, and we would also implement another component, another the sidebar. We create another component for the sidebar, and for the sidebar we are not going to be implementing the entire filters. So we will just select a few, like two random filters, and implement. And for today's episode, we are also going to have like an header page, just at the top of the website, but it's going to be a very simple header. Um, all right, so let's get started, and everything we will be using React. So to get started, you can head over to this website here, react.dev, start a new project. So this gives you the latest info on how to start a new project. I'm going to cover the next.js in the next tutorial, but for now I want to keep things simple. It's recommended that when you are starting a new project, you use the next create next app, use a framework. So but before I dive into a framework, I want us to understand the basic. So I'm going to be using this website. All right, so this gives you a simple way of creating a new React app by using nps create react app. But before you can run this command, you need to run this command globally: npm install -g create react app. And how do you do that? We'll be using VS Code today, and I already have a folder that I've created, and I have already run npx and the npm install -g create react app. If you have not done that for the first time, you need to do that. So that installs the create react app globally. And once you are done, all you need to do is come here and copy this command: npx create react app. But in my own case, I changed my app to Amazon shop. All right, and that will create a new folder for you, and inside that folder you can see the into the folder, see the into Amazon shop. And once that is done, then to start the project, all you need is to run this command: npm start. So our project is getting started, and it's opening a development server, and in that server it's going to run on localhost 3000. So let's go to where our project is currently running. You have a nice little logo, and you have some text here. So everything is being generated from the app.js. The logo, it's the image you're seeing is coming from here, and the text edit source and save to reload is also coming from here. So how does this work? So this is the entry point to every React project, the index.html, which you can find in the public directory, but we are not going to be dealing with that today. And you have what we call an ID of root. So this is the entry point to the application. So when you go to the app.js, sorry, index.js, you see the roots. So whatever name that was used in the index.html will be available here as root. All right, so once we get the roots from the DOM, then React goes ahead to implement this component called the app.js. So we are not going to be touching the index.js application, so we are going to start our development from here, app.js. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete the entire project, and now we should have like a blank page. Yeah, so it automatically reloads. So we have a blank page for us to start development. So I'm going to be creating 3 components in this application. I'm going to be moving as fast as I can. All right, so the first folder I'm going to create will be a components folder to house our folders, our components. Because I said I have 3 components, I'll create another directory here called the sidebar. I'm also going to create another directory called the catalogs, another directory called new folder. I'm going to call this header will be implemented, and lastly I need another folder, new folder called just the catalog. All right, I will explain what that catalog is going to do in a moment. So now that we have created that, we need to start developing our app. So for us to get started, all right, I'm going to create a simple function, called function app. All right, and in that app function, we are going to return, for now, just a fragment. So this is a fragment where you have no div. All right, it doesn't get rendered in the page, and we will export default app. All right, so let's go ahead and create our header.js. So I'm in the header directory. I'm going to add an header.js. all right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing the code for that. So constant header is equals to, I'm going to be using an arrow function. All right, so what we would return a div, a class name of we'll call this maybe banner. Right, call this banner. I'm going to have a span class. In that span class, we have a class name of logo and Amazon, and at the end of the day we would export default header. All right, so once we have that, you can see it stay blank, so we need to add it to the app.js. So in the app.js, all we need to do is header. So this will automatically import the header for us, and that is it. So when we refresh, you can see we have the Amazon header. So I'm going to work on that header and just add the styling. I don't also, so to add the styling, I'll create a new file called the header.css, and in the header.css, so we have a banner. I'm just going to run through. I need a background color of #131921. All right, so how do we know that this is going to work? Okay, let me first add the height of 60 pixels, the width of 100%, display flex, padding left of 20 pixels, and we want to align each of the items to the center. So we have created an header.css, so we'll go ahead to import it in the header.js file. So to import it, all we need to do is just import /header.css. all right, so you notice we have like a dark background, so we need to make the text to be white. So it has a class name of logo. So to do this, logo, and give it a color of white, a font size of 1.2 rem, a font weight of bold. All right, so you notice, so we have the Amazon header, which we have already added now. So like I said, we are going to keep things simple, so we are probably done. We are done with the header, implementing the header component. So we'll go back to the app component. There's a style I really want us to add. I mean a CSS class. So I'm going to be importing this class. It's called import in dot slash styles dot css. So this should break the app because it doesn't exist. So in under the source directory, we create a new file called the styles.css. Alright, so our application works again. So in this app.js, I'm going to create a class name called wrapper. So inside the wrapper, I'm going to have two components. So I'm going to have the sidebar. Okay, so we're going to have the sidebar component and the catalogs component. So I don't want to implement that yet. Sorry, I don't want to write that in here. I want to go ahead to implement it. So I'm going to open the sidebar and create a new file called the sidebar.js. Alright, and inside the sidebar.js, we are going to keep things simple. We'll just say constant sidebar, alright, which is going to be an arrow function, and we're going to return a div of class name sidebar with its children. So I'm implementing that now. Class name equals to row span. So we say feature brands. So we can give this a class name of title. Alright, so let's just stop here for now. Export default sidebar. Alright, so we need to add it to the app.js. So sidebar and this, and we also need another component called the catalogs component. So I'm going to go ahead to implement it. So this is what we just added now. So let's work on our catalogs component. So new file, we'll call this the catalogs.js. So it's going to be similar to what we have. So here we're going to have the catalogs. We're going to have the catalogs, which is going to be an arrow function. Alright, so we'll be exporting the default catalogs. Alright, now here we are going to be returning a div also. So div, sorry, made a mistake. Div with a class name of catalogs, and inside the div we're going to have our data, but the data is not coming in yet, so I'm going to pause on that before I can go on. So yeah, so we have added our catalogs. So this is a catalogs. Let me just put this is the catalogs, and if we refresh it and go back to the app.js, we can then add the catalogs here. So this editor, it automatically imports the dependencies. So go ahead to save the page, and we should have our catalogs here. All right, now I created some data that we're going to use, like a dummy data. I'm just going to go ahead to put that in. So new, so under this, inside the source directory, I'm going to create a new file called data.json. Oh, so it already exists. So okay, I've already added it in. So this is how I'm going to be our data. So it's got an ID, a title, amount, currency, symbol currency, image URL, store info, customer info. So it's an array of different objects. So let's go ahead to start implementing it. So now for us to import the data, I need like a service class. I'm going to create a new folder in here. I'm going to call these services. Oh, okay, so we have a directory called services in here. So let me just delete this because I think yeah, so inside the services we would be creating a a new file inside the services for our catalogs. We are going to call this the catalog service.js. All right, so this is going to be called the catalog services.js. So inside this particular file, we are going to import our data. Import data from where dot because it's outside the directory data.json, and we will implement two functions. We'll export the constant catalog service, which is going to be an object of get catalogs. So the get catalogs is going to be a function. Constant get catalogs will be equals to this, and inside here we're going to return a promise. Why am I using a promise? I can just return data and this works out of the box, but I want to return a promise because most of these, if you're making a call to the server using REST APIs, most of those libraries, they are usually promise based. All right, and I want a situation whereby when I decide to like have like a backend service for this to import the data and not use the data.json. All right, all I need to do is just to edit this part of the code, and everything is still going to work well because I'm returning a promise. So I'm just going to keep it simple, return new promise. So a promise, it gets the how would I put it now? It accepts a callback, alright, called the result, and a reject, right? Reject. So in that, I'm just going to do promise. Sorry, I'm going to do result data. So result is a function. So I think I need to return this also, but I don't think so. I think just data, this works out of the box. So now we have implemented the catalog service. So let's find out how, let's use this in our app. But for us to do this, I need on that folder called hooks. I'm going to be creating on that folder called hooks, and inside the hooks, I'm going to implement a new file called use catalog hooks. So this is going to be a custom hook that I will be creating. I'm very sure that we are familiar with hooks. Alright, so constant use catalog hooks is going to be a function. Alright, in that hooks, we'll be implementing I'm going to have a file called get catalog. So when this is called, alright, when this is called, So it's going to be a constant. This will retrieve the data. Alright. So we have a service called catalog service dot. You can see the function coming in gets catalog. It accepts no arguments. Alright, but don't forget that this is a promise, but I'm going to show you right away. So if we console.log the items, alright, and underneath here we need to export this hook. Remember to use it, default use catalog hooks. So back to my app.js, I'm going to call the use catalog hooks here. It's a function, alright, and don't forget in this our use catalog hooks, because it's a custom function, we want to return an object. Alright, we're going to return an object in here. So in that object we call this the catalogs, and in that catalog for now I'm going to just call this function get catalogs. Yeah, I'm just going to call it directly here, and inside the use catalog hooks we're going to since it returns a function, we're going to structure it and say catalogs. Alright, so when I refresh this and we go back into our React app and go to inspect, so you can see it's returning a promise. So we need to await that promise inside our hook. So I'm going to go back into this and implement it properly by awaiting this, await and async. Alright, and once we await this, we should have our data coming in now. Alright, so this data, in order for us to use it, I want to be able to I want to be able to save it in our state. So we are creating a state for this, and here we're going to say constant this, which is one of the React hook we are going to use is the use state, which is going to be an array, because we are dealing with a list of catalogs. So I'm going to have the catalog items and set catalog items. Alright, I will be duplicating this. So the second one is we are going to be doing is the filter catalog items. So filter catalog items, so that's what we are going to be showing, and set filter catalog items. So all I need to do here is to set, once the items come back, set the catalog items, and we also want to set filter catalog items. So the items and these items, so when you set these items, when you set the catalog items, that just sets it and it becomes available here. But we do not want to tamper with this because we are going to be doing some filtering on these items, so that's why we need this particular one in here. Alright, so now we are going to call the catalogs. I do not want to call this because this will probably throw an error, because you just going to, by the time you start using it, it will throw an error, because this is going to keep calling the get catalog items, and when you do a filter it keeps changing it, so you are going to run into a loop just calling this directly. So in order to implement this, I'm going to use a use effect loop, which is an arrow function. and here we are going to call the get catalogs in here. So but this use effect, it accepts a dependency. We don't want it to call it until one of the dependency changes, which is the catalog items. All right, so now that we have our catalog items, so we can then use this filter catalog items to make it available into the page. Okay, so now we are returning the catalog items. We need to put it into, we need to pass it into the app.js. So we are going to call this the catalogs, which is equals to catalogs. So now this is available in our catalog components. So I'm going to go into the catalogs component now. Alright, so we have this available in our catalogs component. So what we are going to do now is where's the catalogs component? Yeah, this is it. So what we are going to do now is to look through the catalogs. So it's going to come in here and through the props. So we are going to structure it right away by saying catalogs. So it's small letter C. So all we need to do is say catalogs. So if there's a catalog dot length, right? So if we have a catalog dot length, we want to go ahead to map it. Catalogs dot map. In bracket, we have the catalog. For each of the catalog, it's going to come with an index. And yeah, we are going to keep things simple. We are going to keep things simple. I'm just going to say catalog. So for each of those catalog, we should have if we go back to the data.json title, so we have a title in the catalog. So catalog.title, just for us to see what is happening. We're passing error, so we have an error in here. So this should return, sorry, this is a catalog. I'm just going to close this one. So we have an error here. I'm trying to fix the error. So we should return a JSX subject like this and this. So okay, we don't need this anymore. Right, we still have an error in here. So still have an error. In just a second. Okay, so it's a canary operation, so we need to do this. So if it doesn't exist, what do we need to do? Let's do a span here and say no items yet. So I'm just going to give this a class name of empty catalogs. Alright, so if there's a map, we want it to have this. Have this if there's no map. Okay, yeah, so this is working now. So you can see we have all the title coming in, but I want to pass it into another component called the catalog component. So I'm just going to create the component here in this new file. I'm going to call the catalog.js, and inside this catalog.js constant catalog will be another function then the arrow function, we're going to export default catalog, and inside the catalog we want to pass in each of the catalog in here. So catalog. Alright, so here we're going to start returning JSS called the catalog.js. Alright, so we'll return a div with a class name of catalog. Yeah, we're going to return a div of class name catalog, and we'll keep things simple in here. Go back to the catalogs, and instead of having our title, we are going to implement the catalog child we just child component we just created. So it's a capital C, so it's going to automatically import it with a key. You need to, for here, when you are working with a list, you need to pass in a key, and here we're going to call this the index, and we're going to say catalog. So we are passing another property called the catalog property, and then we can then close this. Alright, and this should still work. Alright, so now everything is going into this catalog components in here. Then we can start implementing our catalog. So to implement this, we can say div class name catalog. So we have a span, we want to have a span. In that span, we call this, we have a class name of ing wrapper, and inside that span we want an image with an auth, with the auth. So in the auth we need the catalog.title. So in case the image does not show, the alternate text shows up, and we need a source. In that source we need to display the catalog image URL, and so that is all we need, and we need to close it, the syntax. So if we see this, you have our images coming up right here. So we also need to start implementing some of these things. So before we can do that, so let's create another CSS file in this our catalog page. So I'm going to create a new file called catalog.css. Alright, catalog.css. We're going to import it in the catalog. I'm going to import it here. Import the / catalog.css, and I'm going to save it. So I think I'm done with the catalogs page for now. So for the CSS, I'm not going to dwell much on the styling of the CSS. Alright, I think I have the CSS in place, so I'm just going to bring that in. So yeah, I've written some CSS, so I just brought it in. So in this CSS we have a catalogs. So if you look at this catalogs, so we are simply styling the list view. So we are saying display flex direction row, flex wrap width, and we are giving it a gap. So then do a command S, so we should have our catalogs in here. Alright, so this is the gap we are giving it. So if you notice, you see a gap between this and this. So that is simply what we are doing. And if there's no catalog, we want to center the text. Alright, give it a font size, this. So for each of those catalog now, for each of these catalog, which means for each of these item, we are going to have a class, and here we are going to give it a flex basis of 250 to ensure that the width is 250 pixel. Display flex, flex direction, height or two, border. We are giving it a border, and that's why we have this nice little border in here, and a padding bottom of this. And for the image, we are styling the image, giving it an inline block, overflow hidden, and a height of 200 pixel. So each of the image, we will give it a width of 100 and a height of auto. So we are getting into the sponsored now. Let's go and add it in here. That's the sponsor. So we would expand class name sponsor. So in that sponsor, we just give the sponsor class, and if we save, if we save this, so we should have a sponsor there. So that sponsor is what we are styling in here. That sponsored, sorry, where's the catalog.css? Yes, that's what we are styling in here. We are just changing the front side. So before we go further, you've noticed our sidebar is not coming up yet. It's just in here. I want to separate that style bar. So in our styles.css, we need to do some default styling in here. So I want to set the margin to be 0, the padding to be 0, and the body to have a font family of area, everything sans serif. So I'm just going to, don't forget we have a dot wrapper. So I'm going to style that display flex and flex direction to the row so that it can come in side by side. So if you look at the app.js, it's got a wrapper of sidebar and catalog. So if you notice, it's coming to the side of this, which is fine. And we'll continue with the style.css. So we can style the sidebar in this component. So I always like to do something like this: sidebar starts, and in the sidebar we can give it a padding of 20 pixel, margin right to be 5 pixel, minimum width to be 150 pixel, and a height of 100 vh. Alright, so we can do for the sidebar dot row. We have not even gotten into the sidebar dot row. Alright, so margin bottom. So for each of those rows, I want to have a margin bottom of 20 pixel. So I'm only going to stop here. Sidebar ends. So we have our sidebar that's being implemented in here. So next thing I'm going to do is to start import like an icon here. So to import an icon, all we need to do is go to this page, reactIcon.github. You can take npm install this, and that installs the icon for you. So we already ran this command, and to use it, you can use it by simply putting this, copying this, and using it in your project. So I'm just going to copy this, and we'll go back to the catalog page, which is the catalog, and I'm going to add it in here. So but in the FA, I need to add I need to use the BS icon. So for instance, you can just say info circle. You can search for what you want. And so we are going to be using something like this. Alright, and how to use it's in here. So I'm going to change this to be high, and this is called BS info circle. Sorry, BS info circle. So now we can then use it in our app. So to use it, we just say BS info circle, and that is it. We can give it a class name of S icon. Alright, give it a class name of S icon. If we go back to our app, so you can see that this has been imported for us. So let's go ahead to add the remaining styling. So expand class name title. So in that title we have the catalog title. Then we can create a rating here. Here the class name ratings. So these are just HTML, nothing special. I'm going to skip the ratings for now and add other styling. So we're going to can add this one in here, class name. So in this class name, call this pricing. Inside the pricing, we have the SUP subscript. So we can start saying catalog currency symbol, which is inside the object, and add a span in here. You can call this the catalog ratings start, and sorry, catalog amount to fix amount to fix, just a 2, and we close it here. So we can save it in here. So we have to fix is not in the object. So if you look at the inspect console, you notice that for each we have the catalog.currency, the symbol, catalog.currency currency symbol, and yes, and catalog.amount, which is what we are using here. So there's really nothing special. So we add other details in here. So span class name or store info. In that store info, we'll have a catalog, which is a store info, and command C, command V. So we have a customer info here. Sorry, it's not with an S, catalog, and here we put a customer info here. So you can see this is taking shape now. We need to do the ratings now. So for us to do the ratings, we can say span, and inside the span we have the catalog rating stars, catalog the rating stars. So that gives us the star. So we want to have like a star. So if you give it 4/5, we want like 4 stars, and 4 full stars, and 4 empty stars. 1 empty stars. So for now, what we are going to do is we are going to define a function here called the span, and inside that span we call a get ratings, and that get ratings we pass in the catalog dot ratings. Alright, and we close it. So we'll implement this now. Const get ratings, which is going to be an arrow function. And if you notice, it's the get ratings expects a, so we are passing in this ratings object in here, which contains the rating and the star. Alright, so we can structure it in here and call this rating. Alright, so then we can start implementing. So the first thing I need to do is to do a for let I to be equals to 1, I is less than or equals to 5, because we don't want to have a maximum of 5 stars. I plus plus, and I want to say that as you go, if I is less than or equals to the maximum, so we are going to define the maximum full star. So constant max full stars to be equals to the max dot truncate. We are going to use this function called truncate the rating. So what this does is, if you have a 5.1 like this, alright, and you truncate, you are going to end up with 5. If it's a 3.67, you truncate, you are going to end up with the odd decimal. So this will give us the maximum full stars. Alright, and we also have, we're going to create another fraction called the frac, and in here we have the rating, which is divisible by 1. So that will give us the decimal part of the fraction. Alright, and we want to store our stars in an array. Alright, so now I'm just saying that if it's less than the maximum full stars, so we need to push that into the array stars, but push all the full stars. So now to get the full star, we are going to implement the import this from React icon / FA. So what are we going to import? We're importing the FA stars. So FA star, FA regular star, and
I didn't get that.
FA.
Could you try again?
Just a second. So FA star half odds. So we're going to be implementing this. So I will just be pushing the full star, which is FA star. I'm going to give each of them a key to be equals to the index, which is I, so that we do not have any error. So if it's less than this, we're going to do this. Alright, so we need to return our stars. So return stars. So right now we're only pushing the full star. If you notice, it's not up to 5. The stars are not up to 5. So these are the full stars we just pushed. So we need to do an else if here. Else if the fraction is greater than 0. So if we have a fraction and I want it to display once, the half stars to be 1. So I will say as half. I'm going to implement that. So as half will be let as half to be equals to false. Alright, so we are going to push into this, but we are not pushing the F star. We are going to push the FA star half odds. I'm going to copy this and put it in here. All right, and once we have that, we can say as have to be equals to true. All right, and that should give us the half stars. So but we need to now fill everything else with the empty stars. So else, put the else here, and I need to copy this. So imagine I did not put this, I'm not setting this as half. Alright, so what this means is you are going to have multiple as half here, half stars, and this is not what I want to implement. So that's why I want to set it true by passing this into it. So this will be the FA regular star and FA regular star in here. So yeah, we have our ratings implemented now. The nice color. So what I only did in this catalog is just to style each of the elements, the title, the hover. So the hover is what you are seeing when you hover on this, and rating, the first child of the rating, we give it a color. So this is the color, this is the first child, the second child is the last child. We are okay, we are giving it a rating. That's the catalog, the ratings. We are giving the color of this. So let's see what's in our rating. So rating, so the catalog, the rating, those stars, so which is this, but it's not having a color. So that is, we need to check what is happening in here. So okay, so this is the error, so we need to space it in, and we should have this changed, and it's still not changing. Catalog dot ratings, I think we should have a span also, span last child, exactly. So it's changing, but is this what I really want to achieve? Do I want it to change? I think we are okay with just the font weight. Alright, so don't let's make it change too much. So then we have the superscript, we are only styling this, and we have the pricing span. Pricing is this. We have the customer info and the customer info. So nothing specific is going in here. So let's implement our sidebar component now. So that sidebar, we want it to filter some of these items in there. Alright, so let's go ahead to implement this sidebar. So in our sidebar, so right now we're only displaying the featured brands. So let's have like a default brand settings in our sidebar. Alright, so we can come in here and say constant default brands to be equals to just a second. So we can have default brands to be, for now we can just say our brands and popular brands. Alright, so don't forget that in our data.json we have our brand type. So this is what we want to filter. I want to filter by the brand type. So we can have something like this, and so inside our sidebar we can then start implementing it. So I want to have a title called default brands or featured brands, then a class name of brands list, and inside the brand list then we can then do this. So I'm going to, because I want to have multiple rows here, I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this. So this will be called feature brand. So in the feature brand, we're going to do the default brands dot map for each of those brand index, and we're going to do a span key. We should have a key of index, and inside that we need to do an input name to be equals to the brand. And what is the type of input? It's going to have a type of checkbox, and the input we're going to cover it in there. So yeah, I'm not doing much here. Let's remove this for now. So we still have an error here. So it's coming from somewhere here. So let's see. Constant default brands. What did I just do? I'm having different errors in here. Oh, it has no closing tag. So there's a tag we implemented that is not closing. Okay, so we need to just find that tag. So this for the row, this is, so we need another closing tag here called row. So you can see the feature brands, it's coming with 2 checkboxes. So we need to just style each of these title, brands, and lists. So go back to the sidebar now. Sidebar.css. We go back to the style.css. Just finish the styling on the sidebar. So to finish up with this, I will just copy it, so in order to save time, and because I've styled it before, so I'm going to add it in here. Alright, so what I'm just doing is the styling the list, the cyber list, the brands, styles, and yeah, nothing much. And when the list is active, so by refreshing this should, something is not working. So we need to know why this is not working. Okay, we need to know why it's not working. So if we go to the sidebar now, oh, we have this is capital S, this is supposed to be a small letter S, and this should work now. Yes, so it's working. So we need our brands, so we need to add something into our sidebar here for each of these checkboxes. So we need to do the brand here. So you can see this is working. So when you navigate this, it works out of the box, but we have not implemented the filtering here. We will do that in a bit. So we'll do the same thing for the prices. So we call this prices, and inside the prices we're going to have like a prices dot map. So currently it's not coming in to this Oh, so sorry. So we can create our prices now. So we want to structure the what's it called now? The component. So the component has inside this we want to pass in the catalogs into this particular page. Alright, so that we can have the prices. So if it's not in here, we need to put it in here. Catalogs will be equals to catalogs. Then we go to the sidebar, and we will implement the prices in here now. So for me, I want to do like a template price. So we have the constant template price to be equals to, so we can say up to percent CURR percent 25. All right, so it's going to be a list of text. All right, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it in here. This will be percent CURR percent 25 to 50. Then I'm going to copy this, copy it twice. So this will be 50 to 200, and this will be 200 to what? 1000. So for each of the symbols, so we want to get the symbol from the list of catalogs. So we can say that if there is a catalogs dot length and it's greater than 0, we need the first element 0, and we need to get the currency symbol, and if there is no currency symbol, we would like to default it to pounds. The same thing for prices. So prices will now be equals to template price dot map. We want to map this and call this item, and that item we want to return an object of template price to be equals to an item, which is the entire item of this, and we want to return the price to be item dot replace, or so we are replacing this so this is just a regular expression gi. So we want to replace every using regular expression. We want to match the CURR and replace it with the symbol, alright, that we have gotten there from there. So that is what we are trying to do here, and we'll just do this. So now we can do our prices dot map in here. So when you map it, we have the price, we have the index. In the price and index, you have the span, you have your span class, span class. In that span, we have a class name here. So in that class name, what we want to do is, inside this class name, we want to say that if there is a price dot template price, alright, and it's equals to, that's if you equals to the active price filter, alright, then we want it to be this to be active, and otherwise we'll give it an empty class. And what I want to do is, so inside the price, each of the price, don't forget we are returning price, so we're going to return, I'm going to output price dot price. So we need to define this active price filter. So we can have another state in here and call this constant active price filter and set active price filter to be equals to use state, and here we're going to use an empty string. So I will explain this in a bit, but let's see what we have done so far. So we have our up to 25 up to undefined, so something is wrong with our, it's not replacing it, so we need to know why it's not replacing this. So if you come in here and say up to 25, it's not replacing it, so we need to know why it's not doing that. So we have an item that will replace all, and percent CURL GI. Oh, okay, so this is why. So if you do command heads, so it's replacing the 2550 with pound, but it's not replacing this. So okay, we have triple R here, triple R, triple R, and triple R. So now this should work. Alright, so this is what we are actually trying to do there. So when you select it, we want the active, we want this to stay, we don't want it to go, but right now it's disappearing. So that's why we say when the template price is equal to the active price. So we are not changing it now. So for us to change it, we need to start implementing the event handler. So we can start with the brand first and just put an event handler here called onChange. When this is changed, we need to call a function called filter brands onChange. Sorry, we have WC. It's capital C with a capital C. onChange filter brands. So let's implement that now. So we can implement that just before the prices. Sorry, just here we can implement that here and call this constant filter price brand, an arrow function, so it takes in the event, and we want to call, we are not going to be implementing the filters here, we are going to be implementing it in the catalog groups. Alright, so when this is called, we want to just pass in filter by brands. We construct the array, the object to be maybe brand name, to be e.target.name. So it's going to pick the brand name from here. And it's checked. So it's checked to be e.target.checked. So let's go and implement it in the use catalog books. Alright, so in use catalog books, we need to implement filter by brands. Alright, so we are going to implement it here. Constant filter by brands, right? Because so don't forget we have passing the brand name, so we need to structure it, brand name, and it's checked. So we can say if there's no default brand, alright, dot includes, if it doesn't include the brand name, we're going to return null. So don't forget we're having the default brands here. We can just move everything to the hooks and and just work with that. So we'll move the default brands to the hooks here. Alright, and just put right under this, just put the default brand. Alright, I think it makes sense, perfect sense. So we are going to return null if there is no default brands. Don't forget we are having an error here, filter by brand is not defined, but everything is going to make sense soon. So the error is coming from here because we are not defining it. So we need to like import it here, pass it into here, but we'll still do that. So let's finish up with this, implementing this. You can then select items to be equals to catalog items. Alright, so we now say if items to be equals to, so if it's checked, we'll say items dot filter each of the item by the brand type. So brand type of where the brand type is equals to the brand name, otherwise give me the items. So when this is filter, we need to set the filter catalog items with the new items. Alright, and we need to just import, we need to pass it back as the object called the set filter, called filter background. We also need to bring in the default brands here. So we have the default brands and we have the filter brands here. So in here since we have structured it, so we have the filter by brands and the default brands in here. We need it in the sidebar, so we can say default brands to be equals to default brands, and we can say filter by brands to be equals to filter by brands. So everything is coming into this sidebar here. So now we can then remove this error by saying filter by brands and default brand. So we do not need this anymore, and everything should work now. So when you click on this, you click on this, you click on this. So it's not, this is what we are filtering. It's still not working, so we need to know why it's not working. So we have an error, each unit side must be a key. Are we using a map here? Yeah, we're using a map. So we did not put a key here, so we need to pass in a key of index to remove that error. So that error should be gone now. So when you do this, it's still not filtering. So we need to check why it's not, the filters are not working. So this is meant to go to filter by brands, right? And if we do this, we come back to the use catalog items. So let's do this. So log items the items length and the brand name, and it's checked. Oh, okay, it's checked is RSHECKED. So that's why we're not getting we're not getting it, so we had an error in here, so we did not structure it properly, so I don't need to console.log it anymore. So when you refresh and you do this, so it's filtering, so this is filtering it now. Alright, so we need to work on this filter as well. So we'll go into the span for the what's it called now, for the prices. So inside here we need to do an on click when each of these items are clicked. We want on click to be equals to this, so we are going to use this particular method to call filter price, because we are passing in an argument called the price. Alright, so now that we have that, so we can say constant filter price, which is an arrow function that takes in the price. So we want to filter this price. To filter it, we need to call, first we need to even set, like I said, I want this to stay without moving when it's active. So we need to first call the set active price filter and passing the price dot template price in here. So we can define that by creating a state. In that state we have the set and set. So this will be the active price filter, which is going to come from the use state, and that state it's a filter, so we can just do this. So yeah, this is giving me an error, I don't know why, so we need to find out. Cannot really clear. Oh, we've done it here before, so don't worry. So we'll just so this should work now. So when you click on this, you can see it's staying now. Alright, but it's not going to filter because we need to implement another property called the handle price filter. So we can just call it in here, handle price filter, and in that filter we'll pass in the price. So let's go ahead to implement that in the custom our hooks. So we are back in the hooks. So here we are going to call the handle price filter. Alright, and we're going to return it here so I don't forget. So we have the price that comes into here. We can say let item to be equal. So always try to, when you're manipulating an existing object, try to create a new object so that you do not mutate the existing object and have issues with your code later on. Let price item to be equal to, don't forget that price is an object of template price dot replace all. So we are replacing all this regular expression gi, so we replace all with this. So I want to get the price item, so that will now give us like what we have, like 25 to maybe 50. So for each of those ones, so we are going to have this, and we are going to end up with that. So we can then say okay, so we can see what we are doing. Console.log the price item. So I'm going to copy this and import it into the app. Sorry. I'm going to copy the handle price filter. we are going to go to the app and use it in here, and we're going to pass it into this place called the handle price filter. Alright, and inside the sidebar, inside the sidebar, we can then use it in here, which is the same thing as this. Okay, now so the reason I did that is just for us to see what is happening. So when you click on this, so this is what we are doing. We are removing the pounds from the template price. Alright, so let's continue with implementing this. So we are done with that. So let's part be equals to price item to split on that tool to divide it into two arrays, so we can consider log part to see what is happening. And when I click on this again, you can see we have an array of two objects. We need to trim this. Alright, we need to, because there's a space with an hyphen. So to do that, you can say part dot map. So you can map each of those parts first and say when you have the part, we want to, if part is equals to pass int, we want to pass it as int. When you pass it as int, you can then trim on it. Alright, and we can return. So because we have up here, if we pass this as int, it's going to be NaN, so we need to cater for that. So we say if it's an NaN, that's not a number. If it's not a number, in which in this case it's not a number, we put of parts, we put a 0 to replace it, and instead we put a part. So once we have that, then we are going to return it, and we are going to, because it's going to come with minimum and so you can say let min price and max price equals to this. Minimum price and the maximum price will be equals to this. So for the minimum price, we can say items to be equals to item dot filter item, right? So we are now doing a filter on the amount where the amount is greater than equals to the minimum price, and item dot amount is less than or equals to the maximum price. Alright, so once that is done, we are going to now set the filter items using what we did here into here. Alright, so this should filter it now. Can you see our filters are working? So this is 25 to 50, so it will be greater than 25 but less than 50, which is working. If we do 50 to 200, it's greater than 50 or equals to 50 but less than 200. And if you have 200 to 1000, you can see we have the no items yet. So I think this brings us to the end of this tutorial, and I would say thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share. You can also leave a comment. All right, for those that want to take this further, I will be updating this code base. It's going to be available on the GitHub page. I will be adding the codes to the GitHub repository. I remain Taiwo, and in next tutorial we are going to be talking about TypeScript. We're going to be talking about Next.js. Please stay tuned and subscribe. Thank you.